Tonight on James Talk Africa, my guest is Abiodun Fijabi, leadership coach and communication expert. He goes behind the scene to share with us the things that shaped his life. Tonight on James Talk Africa. Please like this video and leave a comment below. Let's know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell button and share this video with somebody else.
From Cape Town to Cairo and from Mogadishu to Dakar, this is James Talk Africa. And now here's your host, Chim Onyibilanma.
Hi there and welcome to this segment of your show. Like I told you in the introduction, my guest today is Abiodun Fijabi. He's a communication and leadership expert and also the CEO of Lord Princely Associates in Abeokuta, southwestern part of Nigeria. Abiodun, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you, Chim.
Abiodun, people haven't heard you and they will hear you soon now. I find the way you speak English very impressive. We all went to university, but not all of us came out with this quality of English. But it seems you got yours even earlier. Well, tell us about how you came about this English.
Well, Chim, you speak better English, if you ask me. Well, I think my story started from the fact that I was born in the local area of Ibadan.
Yeah.
That's where I grew up from. For those who are used to Ibadan, people in the southwest Nigeria, we speak even the Yoruba language, which is the traditional language, with affectation, and talk less of English that we bastardized. We are known for bastardizing English. For the fact that we cannot pronounce words like church, instead of church we'll say sauce, chicken will be like sickin. That's where I came from, and I got to this secondary school that had the best result, one of the best results in the Western region a year before. That's 1970. I got there in 1971, and I had students from different backgrounds, eastern part of the country, Midwest, and then Lagos. And one of the things that stood them out was that they were speaking impeccable English. I remember one of them, wanting to tell the teacher that he wasn't seeing the board properly. He said, "Excuse me, man, I cannot see the board properly." And I said, "Oh my goodness, how did he twist his tongue like that? If I were to say that, it would have been, excuse me, I cannot see the board properly," And then I said, "Oh my God, I'm not going to do well here. It looks like these students are just much better than me." Then they gave us an essay. And I wrote a beautiful essay, scored 9 out of 10. And then I was bold enough to find out what the other students scored. And I discovered that they scored 4, 5, 6. I said, "So you guys can only speak English. You cannot write English." So I stood in front of the class and I said, "Everybody, watch out for me, watch out for me." I didn't know how to say watch out. I said, "Watch out for me, that in 2 years, I will speak English better than any of you." And that was determination from the eyes of a little child, of a 12-year-old who wanted to be different. And I didn't know that was going to mark my life, and that was going to define me. And indeed, in 2 years, I became the school's orator, representing the school in quizzes and debates. And today is the hallmark of my life.
Yeah, because you do a lot of communication.
Because
a lot of talking. You should be thanking God for those boys that made fun of you.
In over 60 nations of the world.
Yeah. Tell me, let's go back. The thing that really marked your life is your encounter with Christ. Yeah. You came from a Muslim home,
yes,
a Muslim background. Tell us a little bit about how you encountered the Lord.
At the age of 9, I had finished reading the Quran, and all the teachers were so excited about me because they felt that I was going to be able to connect, combine the knowledge of Arabic, with my intellectual, ability, and that I was going to make the difference. And I shared that thought. So my goal was to bombard the campuses of Nigeria with the knowledge of Islam and to see what I could do to dislodge Christianity and then promote Islam. And then the first challenge that I had was a junior student of mine in high school asking me a question which nobody else could ask, because I was up there, I was the chief imam of my secondary school. And then he said, Senior Fijabi, I would like to ask you, supposing you drop dead today, do you have an assurance that you will go to heaven?
Wow.
All right, there are different things that hadiths and all of the Quran said about what would be qualifications for going to heaven. So I was confused. And I asked him to go away, get out of my face, but that thought never left me. So when I gained admission to A levels, I began to ask myself, am I doing what is right? Then I persuaded myself that I was. So I kept moving. And then there was this time during my A level, I went into a restaurant to eat, and the Christians came in. I saw the sizes of their Bibles, and I knew that they were going to preach because they were very excited about their faith then. Even though they didn't know how to communicate effectively, they were passionate about it. Even with their broken English, they would still, almost, push the gospel in your face. I wish they could communicate better, but I still prefer that they communicated wrongly than not communicating at all. So I was ready for them. So as soon as one of them asked me, are you a Christian? I said, which kind of Christian are you talking about? Which kind of Jesus are you talking about? He said, the Jesus that was sleeping with Mary and Martha, and he seemed to enjoy one better than the other. One of the ladies said, how could you say that about the Lord and Savior Jesus? The Lord punish you and punish all your people. You're such a mad person. How can you say that about Jesus? I loved it because one of the things you do in argumentative speaking is to get the other person mad.
Yeah.
And so once she was mad, the others followed, and I was speaking at the top of my voice, and I actually, destroyed them. The entire field of 8. And so they stormed out of the room. But there was one guy who was in the corner. He came in after them. He was eating his donut and taking his Coke, and he was smiling at me. He did not join them in abusing me, in cursing me, and I was afraid of him. He didn't say anything. You know what happened?
Did you know he was a Christian?
I knew he was a Christian because he had Dake's annotated Bible.
Okay.
So I knew he was a Christian. So I quickly paid, and I was going out, and the guy stood up and followed me, and under my breath, I said, trouble. Here was a guy who has not said anything to me. No argument, no preaching. And then he put his hand on my shoulder. He said, you are too much for us. It was one of the best communication I've seen. He said, you are too much for us. None of us can stand you in an argument. You are just so skilled. I said, no. I said, thank you. And then he looked at me and said, can I say something? And like a stupid man, like a sheep before, I said, yes. He said, the fact that you seem to have won the argument does not mean that you have won the war. You may have won the battle, but the war is still raging on in your heart because there is something in you that is saying that you need more than you have now. Can I say another thing? And stupidly I said, yes again. He said, can I tell you that this Jesus that you have sought to destroy in the last 40 minutes, you will not only serve him, someday you will preach him. I just thought I should let you know. Bye. And he walked away without me saying a word. 2 weeks after, I made a decision to give my life to Jesus.
Wow.
Because I lost my peace. I just kept replaying this in my mind and in my heart. And the first opportunity I had to be at a play performance by the Christians, I stood up and I dared to call God my Father.
Wow.
And that was the beginning.
So, Abiodun, coming from a Muslim home, obviously this decision must have been a game changer. Must have recalibrated everything between you and your family. What happened?
Oh, yes, it did. My father sent my mother away from home.
Because of this?
Yep. And then he said he would no longer send me to Mecca. I was to go to Holy Pilgrimage that year, and that didn't bother me. At least the Mecca thing didn't bother me. But that of my mother leaving the house, bothered me a little bit.
So, but your dad didn't threaten stopping your university education?
Oh, he did, because that's one aspect that I didn't handle well. After I became a Christian, I wrote him a letter that he was going to hell. And he came to my school with his driver, and he said, "Boy, let's go home." I said, "Why, sir?" He said, "Well, I just figured that I can't be using hell money to send you to school. It's that simple." So I entered the car, and the trip that was supposed to be like an hour between Ife and Ibadan took like forever.
In your mind.
Because it was silence all through, and I was his most precious child. So in a way, there was no conversation between my father and I. And that was a wake-up call for me. 3 days after, he allowed me to go back to school, and I didn't deny Christ. Lord gave me the grace not to. And then I made up my mind I was going to improve on my communication. I was not going to just, frontally attack other people's values. Even though the gospel is supposed to have inherent in it an offense, but we don't have to make it more offensive than it is. So that made me to pour my heart into learning how to communicate effectively. And that again has become the hallmark. It has helped me to lead so many people to the Lord on a one-on-one basis. I've had the joy of saying the sinner's prayer with so many people, probably hundreds of them, apart from speaking at events at big gatherings. So, and it started from that sad experience of poor communication with my dad.
And communication is what you do today. Tell us a bit about Lord Priestley, and you serve in different countries with this. Tell us a bit about how that started and.
At the beginning, you said that a lot of the challenges that I've had have helped me to be a better person. I'm not putting it exactly the way you put it. A few years into my marriage, my business failed, and the failure lasted for about 4.5 years, and that was long. For a guy who almost made first class in the university, for a guy that everybody was looking up to as would be an instant success, and here was I battling with business failure and cash crunch, and I decided that, what do I do with my life? And God began to teach me what is going to be the foundation of my life today. He said, well, first of all, you need to realize, Luke 12:15, that the life of a man does not consist in the abundance of what he has. I'm not saying I'm not going to bless you, but don't ever, ever, ever base your joy on the amount of things you have. And again, he said, godliness, 1 Timothy 6:6, with contentment is great gain. So you've got to be excited about whatever state you are now, because that is going to help you. That's going to be the launching pad into wherever I want to take you. Contentment will have to come first. And then he followed that with, Matthew 6:33, seek you first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these other things shall be added unto you. So I began to have a robust idea about what I want out of life. So it's not money, fame, power. I will get, today I have the
all
three.
of it,
but you don't put the cart before the horse. That helped. So and then he said, whatever your hands find to do, do it with all your heart. And I said, what can I be doing now that I don't have a job and there is no money? He said, why don't you polish your speaking skills? I said, okay. So I began to go to Ibadan, about 1.5 hours drive from my city, and then I would go to United States Information Service to listen to some of the best speeches that have been made in the world, and I began to learn how to public speak. I saw the way the Martin Luther King did it, the way the Clintons did it, the way, Ronald Reagan did it, and I became so enamored to it. I didn't know that I was preparing for the next phase of my life. And then after some time, my wife just walked up to me and said, honey, don't you think you should start a communication company? And then 2 weeks after, Lord Princely came on board.
Wow.
And whereas engineering took me to 3 countries of the world, including the land of my birth, public speaking and leadership training, has taken me to over 60 countries of the world.
Wow. Let's talk about your books.
Yes.
You're reading a few books. We'll have on the screen some of them, but which one stands out the most from all the books you have written? Which one of them is dearest to you?
Yeah, I think all of them, but let me talk about building others up, how to communicate effectively, because I saw that communicating the gospel has not been very effective. And we usually lay the blame of people not coming to the Lord on those people. The devil is pulling a big one on them. The people are not ready. The devil is afflicting them, you know. Whereas the role, the responsibility falls on the communicator, because if you find out, because everybody has a price, and if you can pay the price for that person, you can actually get him to listen to the gospel, even to understand it. He may reject it, you know, and if you are patient enough and you are able to trust the Holy Spirit and develop the appropriate skills, you may be able to get him to say the sinner's prayer, or prepare him for somebody else to lead him to the Lord.
So which other one of your books, I want to take at least 2 that stands out for you.
I think the other one would be My Joy Is Now.
That was one of your first books.
Yes. My Joy Is Now came as a result of my understanding of the need for me never to postpone my joy.
Okay. What were you going through at that time?
At that time when my business was down, I would say, oh, I would do something for the Lord when I had money. If only I could build a house, I would be happier. If my wife would just change her attitude towards me, that would really be great. Oh, if I could have a child on time, oh my God, my joy will hit the roof. And the Lord said, no. Your joy is now.
They are available on Amazon.
Yeah, they are available on
so you can go there and get a copy of them. Abiodun, let's talk about your family as we round up.
Good.
You're married to the love of your life. Tell us about her.
I've been transferred from Lagos, the big city of Lagos, to Abeokuta. Abeokuta is about 1 hour drive northeast of Lagos. And the first church I will ever attend, I saw this girl and I said to myself, wow, God has finished his work in this one, but she's not my spec, because she was so effervescent, and then she was so excited about life. I said, no, I'm already excited about life. I think excited enough for both of us. So I will want
somebody who is dull.
I will want some dullness. And then I had the opportunity to see her, and I saw that excitement that she showed was actually happenstance. It had to do with she got an information that got her so excited, and that was not her normal self. And I said, wow, maybe, but it can't be her, because she has to be engaged. If she's not, then it must be that she has leprosy, which she covers with her clothes, or the boys and the guys here are blind. So until somebody walked into me, and then we were talking, and he gave me an information that she was not engaged. And I said, wow, how can it be? And then we began the process of getting to know each other.
Wow.
And today, she hasn't said yes to me, but we have spent 35 years of our life together. I'm still waiting for her to say, I will marry you. So, but it couldn't have been better with somebody else, a girl that supports you at every turn, that wants the best, for you, and is able to bear with my nuances, my creativity. For anybody in public speaking, in what I do, that we can be crazy sometimes with strange ideas, and then I have an inspiration, and I quickly divert from what we're talking, and I said, "Excuse me, darling," and then I have to type something on my iPad or my laptop, and she bears with all those new
She rolls with it. What has been, I mean, what has been one of the most challenging period for you in life?
I think the most challenging period for us was when we had a business failure.
That period you talked about.
Yeah, that period we talked about. For my wife and I, it was so tough that my wife lost interest in my leadership and felt that I had failed. And then I had to lash onto my relationship with the Lord and my communication skills to alter that. Because I was doing what every man would do, bamboozle my way through and say, "Don't worry, I'm going to make money, and things are going to change." You know, and then that wasn't cutting it until I took about 3 days off to wait on the Lord, and then the Lord gave me an idea of what to say. And then I planned, prepared hard on how to get her on my side. I knew if anybody was going to take me off God, it would be this girl. If anybody is going to help me achieve my objective, it would be this girl. I wanted her on my side.
Your side.
So I woke her up about 4:30. Usually she will wake up at 5, and I will wake up like 7. So I woke her up at 4:30, and then I said, "What's it all about?" I said, "I want to say something to you." I said, "What is that? Have you got a job? Is there something happening?" I said, "No, I just want to let you know that I'm already working on what I will say to God's people if I'm called into to speak about you, and I will want to tell the truth. I want to tell them that you stood by me in my most difficult moments, and I see me taking you to the nations of the world, and I'm wondering, will I be comfortable saying you were with me, or shall I say you just managed me?" All right. And then I looked at her. It's all practiced with tears in my eyes, and I said, "Stay with me, baby. Stay with me."
You practice the tears too?
No, I didn't practice the tears. You know, the words. And as I was saying it, because I believed them, I said, "Stay with me. If you stay with me, I will show you the world. If you stay with me, I'm going to noise it all over the place." And this is one of those places, noising it about. Mope was just so supportive.
Praise God.
And then she looked at me and said, "I have 20,000 naira that I kept somewhere, but I can't give it to you, because if I give it to you, you will say we should give it to the poor. And we ourselves, we are the poor." I said, "Come on, go and bring the money." And she brought the money. I said, "Let's negotiate. Can we take half of it and give to the poor? Because you and I are not poor. We just lack. So let's give it." Okay. So we gave the 10,000 to those who we felt were really poor. Do you know, that was the turning point. Things just moved from there. You will give Mopelola 5 stars.
Or more.
If there is anything more than 5 stars, we'll give it to
Praise
her.
God. Thank God for a lady that stood with you all these years. Yes. And I thank God. We didn't have a chance to talk about your heart for the poor, but we have to stop here. Let's have you look into the camera and say your last word to the viewers. I mean, from wherever angle from your life experience you want to share with our viewers as we round up.
Well, Jim, they say life is not a bed of roses. And I agree. But when you allow the Lord to come into your life and rule your life through His principles, eternal principles, like He has done mine, like He's doing mine, those roses, those thorns will be turned into roses. And it is not going to be that everything about you will be perfect, but you will constantly say, "My joy is now."
Thank you so much. My joy is now. Abiodun Fijabi, he is a communication and leadership expert, CEO of Lord Princely Associates, and based in Abeokuta in the southwestern part of Nigeria. Abiodun, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Chim. Thank you, viewers.
Thank you, viewers, for joining us.
Please like this video and leave a comment below. Let's know what you think, and don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell button and share this video with somebody else.